Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you all a Valentine's date night makeup look. So this is just a very easy classic makeup look that anybody can do, and it's quite straightforward, so I'm hoping most of the things you have at home in your makeup bag you're able to recreate this look with. If not, I'll link everything that I'm using in the description box below. If you're new here, my name's Pamela and I share beauty, skincare tutorials, makeup tutorials, and I've been a beauty and spa therapist for over 21 years now. So I just thought, with it being Valentine's Day coming up in a couple of days, if anybody was looking for a little easy tutorial just to do, or even if you've just got a date night coming up and this is past Valentine's, you might find this video quite helpful. So first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and start with foundation. Now I do have product on my skin. I've just got some moisturiser and I've also got a little bit of lip balm. So a little tip for you all would be, before you obviously put any makeup on, make sure you've got a nice moisturiser on your skin. I would maybe put it on a good maybe 5 minutes at least before, just to give it a chance to settle in, and also your lip balm as well. So by the time it comes to doing your lipstick or lip product, then you have got a nice base for that to go on. So I would say that long lasting makeup, and if you're doing any sort of makeup, always make sure that the base is right first before you put anything on. So first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and start with this foundation here, which is a very affordable one. It's the Bourjois Healthy Mix foundation, and the shade that I'm using is Light Vanilla. So I'm just going to go ahead and start putting this on. I could apply it with a brush, but I just thought, for obviously people doing this at home, a lot of people would just apply it with their hands. So first of all, I'm just going to put the foundation on. I would always say, when it comes to foundation, this one's probably a really good one if you're just looking for a kind of light to medium coverage and something that still is going to give you a little glow. So I'll just put a little bit on my hand. And then when you are applying your foundation, a good tip to share with you all is to start in the middle of the face and work your way out. I do have a separate foundation tutorial that I'll share with you all, where it just goes a wee bit more in depth on the best application. So just starting in the middle, sweeping it out. This one's got a lovely glow, so it's not too mattifying, it's not a heavy coverage. I do think that if your skin is generally quite good, it's always really good just to make sure that you don't mask it and cover it up too much. If we do have healthy skin, we want that healthy skin to shine through our makeup and not feel like we're covering it all up. Place your foundation on. This is a lovely one. It does have a very subtle scent as well. I've used this one for many years, and it's one that I've bought time and time again. So if anybody's on the lookout for a great foundation, I can't recommend this one enough. It's just a lovely coverage. And I'll just put a little bit on my chin just to hide any redness. I will go back in and do a concealer also, but always put your foundation on first, because if you put your concealer on first and then you're rubbing your foundation in, you will find that it'll then just obviously rub off. I would say as well, make sure you close the neck when you're putting your foundation on. Obviously we don't want a line. I will go over with a brush at the end just to make sure everything's blended seamlessly. So once your foundation's on, so this is the one that I've got on just now, you can see my skin, you can still see my skin shining through and the glow, so it's not completely masked it, it's not really mattifying. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is an eye makeup. So I'm just going to create quite a simple eye makeup look, and then I'll go ahead and finish the rest of the base. So my eye makeup look that I'm using, the eye palette I'm using today is Iconic London, and this is a great one. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with a nude first of all on the eyes. I'm just going to go ahead and go in with this shade here, Marshmallow, which is a very light colour. I would say if you feel as if your eyes are quite tired looking, or they're just needing a little bit of brightening up, I would say always start with a light one first as your base. Some people do put an eyeshadow primer on first, but that's entirely up to yourself. I tend to just not bother. It's not necessary. You can actually just dust over your eyelids with your foundation if you want, or a powder to set them better. Just starting in the inner corner. Obviously the eyes can get quite dark on the lids. We have different tones on the skin on our eyelids, so you just want to kind of make that look as neutral as possible, cancelling out any colour, any redness that's in there before we start with our eyeshadow. So this is a really good one just to start with. As you can see, it's just very neutral, very plain. It's Marshmallow, that shade. I'm then just going to go in with a taupey shade because I'm going to do more of like a kind of smoky eye look that anybody can achieve, and it's very simple to do. So this tutorial is going to be easy for anybody. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with this shade here, which is a warm taupey kind of shade. And I'm just going to define the eye with this colour. So just taking a little bit on the end of the brush. You're then going to, if you are defining the eye and you're looking to kind of shape it and contour it, you want to start on the outside. So as you can see where I'm just placing it down here, I'm just going to put that at the end of the eye and just into the eye socket. So this is just going to give definition, it's going to add a little bit of warmth. It's also going to elongate the eyes, so if you feel as if your eyes are a little bit close set together, just by applying a colour to the outer corner like this, you're obviously drawing the attention to this side, so it gives the illusion that your eyes are kind of elongated and further set apart. Again, I'll just do a little bit on the other side, just gently placing down that nude, that kind of warm taupey shade. Most people will probably have these kind of shades in their makeup bag, so quite easy to recreate, and then just doing a kind of back and forth motion in the eye socket area. So just define the eye socket, almost give it a little bit of a lift as well. So just that nice warm brown taupey colour, and just make sure that you blend. Blending is obviously very important when you're putting your eye makeup on. You want to make sure that you're blending all the colours so you don't have like big blocks of colour through the eye. You just want it to be seamless when it blends in. So just warming it up a little bit more. And sometimes these kind of looks are quite good as well, regardless what you're wearing. You know, something like this is going to suit. I'm going to go for a bolder lip, so that's why I'm just keeping the eyes quite simple and quite neutral, just with a nice warm taupey colour. And this shade's obviously quite good for most eye colours, most skin tones. You can't really go wrong with a nice warm taupe. It's quite universal for everybody. Okay, now I'm just going to leave it at that. Now I'm just going to go in with my finger and just use a little very subtle shimmer just on top, just to make it look a little bit more special as it's a dinner date or Valentine's Day. So I'm actually going to go in with this lovely shade here, which is called VIP. It's called VIP Vibes, and it's just a very subtle shimmer. So I'm just going to apply that over the lid just with my finger. So just like this. So if you do have a little bit of glitter or shimmer at home, it's nice just to add that over the top, just if it's a special night out or if it's Valentine's Day, just to give a little bit of a special makeup look. And then just going to press that just over the lid, just on top of the eyeshadow that we've placed down. And it's very, very subtle. You can build it up if you want, and if you wanted to have something a wee bit more stronger look, you can create that. But I would say that you can't really go wrong with something like this. It just creates a lovely little eyeshadow look. A little bit of shimmer just makes it look a little bit more special if it's for an evening. Very subtle. Again, you can build it up if you wanted a little bit more. I'm just going to leave it at that just now, and I might go back in and add more. I'm going to do my eyeliner next. So this is the Delilah Eyeliner, and it's in shade is in Coal. So this is a liner, and it's very soft, so it just goes on very gently, just glides onto the eye over the lid. So I'm just going to apply this just gently. I'm going to start in the inner corner, and it just glides along. And it'll just give a little bit more definition on the eye. Just like this. I've always kind of done it this way. I just find it's a wee bit easier holding the eyelid. It just gives you a wee bit more control when putting the eyeliner on. And at the end you just want to kind of flick it out a little bit. If you want to go for a more cat eye look, I do quite like a cat eye. I would just gently hold the middle lashes and then just make sure that you're pulling that out at the end. I'm going to go back in with a brush just to soften that, which is quite good for just blending if you have any little bits you just want to soften down. So that's a great little tip for anybody that's, when you're putting your eyeliner on, always go back with your brush afterwards. And if you just pull it down the way, you'll kind of help, that kind of softens the line as well, because you're just putting a wee bit more shadow over it. And that's obviously the first eye done, just with the liner. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the other side. Starting in the outer corner is quite good if you're trying to create a winged look as well. And just pulling it in. As you can see, there's a little soft wing at the side. So I would say that's quite a good tip as well, just starting in the outer corner and pulling in. I wouldn't try and do your eyeliner all in one go, because it's easier just to do it in sections like this. And that's the eyeliner on both eyes at the top. I am going to put a little bit underneath as well, but I'm just going to do that once the mascara's on, because that sometimes gives you a better idea of how much makeup you need on, instead of putting too much on right away. Sometimes find that with the base as well. That's why I don't finish my base until the very end, because you don't really know until the end how much you're actually going to need. Once the eyes are on, it's always helpful too. I have done a lot of makeup for brides and obviously special occasions, special events. So I've done makeup training for many years with different companies like Bare Minerals and some other ones as well. So these are kind of the tips and tricks that I've picked up when doing makeups professionally on people. So I would say that that's maybe a little tip to maybe not finish your base till the end. So a lot of people maybe do their foundation or concealer, their blusher, but then you're touching your face quite a lot throughout as well while you're doing your makeup, like maybe your eyes or your brows. So I'd say finish the blusher and the concealing usually at the very end, and it'll look a lot fresher. I'm going to go ahead and go in with the mascara now. So the mascara that I'm using is the Maybelline Lash Sensational, which I've used for many years and is a favourite of mine. So I would highly recommend this if you're going to look out for a great mascara. I'll link it below in the description box. I think it's only like £10, but this is my most bought one. I would say if anybody's looking for a recommendation, this is the one I would always say. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put the mascara on. A little tip when you're applying mascara, I have made another tutorial on that as well, is just to look down into a mirror, and that just allows you to coat your lashes a lot better instead of maybe looking straight ahead trying to do it. I just find that you get a little bit of a mess when you're doing it that way. You can get a lot of mascara over the skin. So I'd say always look down. You can coat the lash right from the root. And just make sure you don't forget about the end lashes as well. These little tiny ones, make sure you pick them up. A lot of people do curl their lashes before they put mascara on, but I do find that I don't really tend to use eyelash curlers, but if you have them at home, obviously use them before you put your mascara on if that's part of your routine. I do find that my lashes are quite long, even though they're quite sparse. So when I do put mascara on, I do feel that they do sit up quite well, so it's just what your own preference is if you're used to using curlers or not. And then again, just on the other side, we're just going to put some on this side as well. And if you can wiggle the brush, that's quite helpful too when you're applying it. But I'll link the video below if you're looking for some eyelash, some mascara tips when you're applying it. It just goes a wee bit more in depth with the best tips, the do's and the don'ts. There we go. So obviously mascara makes a huge difference to your eyes when you put it on. So I'm just going to let that dry in for a second. I'm going to move on to a little bit of brows while that's drying, and then I'll go back and might do a little bit of under eye liner as well and do a little check. So when it comes to doing your brows, I would say if you just give them a comb first. Mine's are quite sparse. I've never had anything done to them when it comes to like laminating or anything like that, as you can probably see. I prefer to just kind of do my own eyebrows and make them as thick or as thin as I want them. So when it comes to eyebrows, what I normally do is, if you are looking to fill in your eyebrows and make them look a little bit fuller, I usually just use a brown eyeliner, and I think this one's just from Rimmel, so it is quite a cheap one. And then I would just, so whatever one's closest to your own eyebrow, natural colour, I would then just start softly, very, very lightly. Don't use any heavy pressure. Just start filling in your brows. I wouldn't do one full stroke, you know. I would just build them up gradually, just like softly putting down a little bit of product at a time, and then onto the tail as well. Eyebrows are obviously such a big thing now when it comes to makeup. Years ago, the thin eyebrow was very popular at the time I grew up, but now obviously fuller eyebrows and lamination is very popular now. But not something myself personally I would try. It depends on what your preference is when it comes to eyebrows. So I would just gently again just make them look a wee bit fuller. I would normally put pencil on eyebrows first, and then I would go back and just put a little bit of powder on just so that they last a little bit longer. And yeah, you just want them to look as natural as possible. If you are putting product on them, you don't want them to look as if, sometimes I find I'm talking to people's eyebrows when I see them, because obviously I do eyebrows a lot as part of my job, and sometimes if people put them on too strong, it is very, when you're talking to them, you can find that it's very distracting. So I would say a little tip is just to try and make them as natural as possible. What I then do is I just go in and use this little palette here. So if you've got like a neutral brown like this shade here, and your eyebrows are quite kind of natural like myself, I would then just go in with a little brush, one like this, that's got a little angled brush on it. And then I just use a little bit of this shade here, this very natural taupey shade, so whatever one's closest to your eyebrows. And then I would just, over the pencil, this is obviously just going to make them look a little bit more, this is just going to make it more long lasting, and obviously a little bit fuller as well. I would then just gently colour those in. I would gently then just place some of that over the pencil that you've just put on, just like this. If you are new here and you do enjoy watching tutorials or makeup looks or learning some beauty tips, make sure you click subscribe. I do share a lot of videos, a lot of skincare unboxings. If you enjoy anything like that, then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any. So that's my eyebrows done now. So as you can see, they're nice and shaped, they're defined. Also doing your eyebrows can give you sort of like a little eye lift as well. So I would say make sure that if you don't do anything with your brows, it's quite a good thing to spend a little bit of time on them in the morning. It almost gives you the illusion that you've had a little eyebrow lift, just by the techniques that you use when you're putting your products on. I would now want to set them, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and set them just now. So I'm just going to use this powder here, which is a Rimmel one. A lot of the products that I'm featuring here in this tutorial are a lot of them are very affordable, like high street brands, so it's not, you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money if you're needing to update any makeup items. Like it's more about how you apply them. Sometimes the more expensive ones, obviously it depends on the consistency of them and obviously the different textures, but I would say when it comes to makeup you can get really good results just using the high street versions as well, so you don't need to go and spend a lot of money. That's the eyebrows done. I'm just going to go back ahead and have a look at the eyes. I think I might go for a little bit of eyeliner underneath. This is totally obviously personal to everybody. Some people like to go a bit heavier on the eyes if it's a special occasion. Some people prefer a more natural look, but I've always been used to putting eyeliner above and underneath my eyes when I've got a special night out. So I'm just going to hold the eye like this. If you're doing underneath the eye, it just gives a little bit more control, and just gently placing a little bit of eyeliner down just in here for a little bit more definition. I will go in with a cotton bud and just soften that so it's not too harsh. And again on the other side, just gently holding so you can see where your little wing is at the side of your eye, and it's just lifting it so you can get easier to apply underneath the eyelid. And just connecting them as well. I don't take the eyeliner all the way round. Some people take it right round to here, but I prefer just taking the eyeliner to about 3/4 along just here. And if you need to do any tidying up, just grab a little cotton bud or Q-tip if you're watching in America, and just gently pull that out just to tidy up anything underneath, and also just softens the eyeliner. If you have got any mascara that's maybe went up here, then a little cotton bud is all you need, just to obviously tidy that. It's also good for just blending if you're trying to soften any wee blended bits. If you've went too high, then it's another great thing to use for that as well. The next thing I'm going to do is actually I'm just going to conceal. So I'm going to go in with some concealer, and I've just been using the Maybelline Eraser. This has been a great concealer. Again, I've used this many times. It's not expensive at all. It's very affordable. It's great for around the eyes and for just covering up any blemishes. So I usually, when I'm putting that under the eyes to just conceal, I would just dot it down like this. You don't need a lot under the eyes. I've seen a lot of tutorials where people just put so much under the eyes when it comes to concealing, and a lot of it can look very heavy and very caked. Where I would say like a little bit goes a long way. So yeah, just a little bit of product, because even for that small amount I've put on, you can still see it's quite a lot of product that's come out. So I wouldn't pack it on. I would say to anybody, you know, the under eye area is a lot thinner, the skin, compared to the rest of the face. So you don't want to put too much under there and overload the skin, as it'll just sit there and it can look quite cakey. So yeah, just gently massaging that. When you are using any eye products, or if you're putting anything under your eye, always use your ring finger, as it is the lightest pressure. You don't want to be dragging that delicate skin under the eyes and causing premature aging or lines or wrinkles. You want just to use a very soft touch, just like this, just gently blending it into the skin and just until it melts in. I'm now just going to cover up any wee blemishes that I have, like this one here, and just gently cover that up. Usually we get little bits of redness around the nose, as you can see here. So I'm just going to put a little bit around the nose to conceal. I would say even under the nose, we tend to get a lot of redness like around our nose area. A lot of kind of discoloration. So I would say if you are putting any concealer on, I would say under the eyes, around the nose, any wee blemishes on the chin, or anywhere else that you have. Another wee tip that I have shared in a previous makeup tutorial video when it comes to concealing as well is if you put a little bit of concealer in between your eyebrows, if you feel your eyes are quite close set together. So if you feel as if you've got quite close set eyes here, if you just put a little bit of concealer in between your eyebrows, it creates the illusion that they're further apart. So that's a little top tip as well I've shared before. If that's another video you might want to check out as well. And I would probably just from here, I would just put a little bit on the chin. So anywhere you have any spots. The next step I'm going to go on to is lips. So before you do your blusher, I would probably say always go with lips first, because then that gives you an idea how much blusher you're going to need. And then at the end you can have another look and see if there's anything that you need to add in. So this lipstick that I'm using is one that I love. It's by Revlon. And I've had it for I think about a year or so now. It's such a great colour. And it's called, colour is called, I think it's Rosewood. And it's shade 225. So you can see it's quite well used. I think I did get this in one of the LookFantastic boxes maybe last year or a couple of years before. I'm just going to go ahead and apply this. So whatever red lipstick you've got at home, or if you've got a colour that you particularly like, I'd say the eyes are quite easy that they would match up with most kind of root tones of red. Or if you did want to go for a pink makeup, you could still, if you wanted to go for a pink lip, you could probably still do that. But that's the lipstick on, so that's obviously a little bit more of a kind of reddy tone. That would be perfect for anybody that's not looking for anything too bright and bold. I would say that if you are doing your lipstick, I would probably put 2 coats on if it was for a special date night or for like Valentine's Day and you did want it to last. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blot this with a tissue and then I'll put a second coat on. So that's quite a good little tip if you want your lipstick to last. You're just going to grab a tissue and you're just going to press your lips onto that to take off the excess before applying a second coat. Just like that. So it would just take off any excess and then you would just put a little bit more on, blot it again, and then you're just going to get it lasting longer. If you did want to use a lip liner, you could also do that and that would give it more longevity as well, but I don't have one that matches in that shade. You can use a lip brush if you wanted to and just kind of really press it into the lips and give it, it just gives a more defined lip too. If the lips are on, it's easier to see how much blusher needs applied as the makeup looks come together. So that's why I would always say leave your blusher to the end. Now the blusher that I'm going in with today is by NARS and it's the shade Orgasm. Which is a very popular shade out of NARS, so I've been loving using this blusher. I've been wearing it so much. It's such a beautiful shade, as you can see, so it's just going to complement the makeup perfectly. So this is just a little mini one that I actually got in the advent calendar in December, so I'll link it below as well. Then it just gives you a little bit more idea as to how much you want to apply and where you're going to put it. So when you are putting your blusher on, you want to obviously go for the high points of the cheeks here. So I would normally just put a little bit on, give it a little tap, never blow on your brushes because you're just blowing germs onto them, tap any excess off. And then if you just gently smile, you'll see where the apples and the high point of your cheek is. And then you can put as little or as much on as possible, just depending on what your preference is. This one has a little shimmer in it too, so it does give a nice little kind of luminosity as well in the cheeks. I would say as well, if you have any excess that's left in your brush, it's always good to sweep it up the neck area, just to make sure that there's obviously a bit of colour on the chin, on the neck too, so it all blends together. You can also come around the jaw area, and it just gives a little bit of definition as well. And then lastly, what I would do just before finishing is I would go ahead and have a look at the eyes and think, do I need to add anything else on, or I'm overall happy. I do feel quite happy with the eyes overall. I feel as if for this look I'm quite happy with that, but if you did want to put an extra bit of glitter on or a little bit extra eyeshadow in the corners, then just in the outer corners, that would be quite nice if you were looking for a more defined eye. But overall I feel as if I'm quite happy with that. Obviously it's your own preference. If you wanted to go in and add more, you can. Just to do any little last minute checks as well. Do you need more blusher? I would maybe just put a little bit more blusher up here. Is there any parts of your makeup that might need a little tidy up as well? Around the eye area, can you see anything that needs freshened up with a little cotton bud? Just to make sure that it's seamless. So again, it's very so everything's very well blended together. And then lastly, what I would do is I would just go back to the powder, but I did say, if you watched the last video, I actually created a last unboxing video I did was the LookFantastic one, and I said I was going to do a little tutorial and try a couple of the products. So this is the actual finishing powder that I got in the February LookFantastic beauty box from Lottie London. So I thought this would be a good time to go in and try this, and also got this brush as well from Spectrum, and it's the B06 brush, which is beautiful. So this is more like a kind of eye brush, but it says it's perfect for just dusting any powder under the eyes. Shake a little bit into the lid, about that much, and I'm just going to try it out and just see what it's like. So I thought this would be quite a good time to do this. Again, pat off any excess from your brushes, don't blow on your brushes. And this one says that it's really good just for under the eyes, this powder. So I'm just going to dust a little bit under the eyes and just see how that looks. I wouldn't normally put powder under the eyes because sometimes it can look a wee bit cakey, but that looks very soft, very subtle. It does say that this is an eyebrow blending brush, but I feel as if this would be quite nice just to finish off any wee corners, to set the concealer, in place, just over the eyebrows. If you do have quite a glowy makeup look and you don't want to kind of cover it with powder at the end, then a little brush like this would be a good tip just to use, just to kind of dust over any wee areas that you would like a little bit of extra concealing on without it kind of taking the glow off your whole makeup look, which a lot of kind of powders can do. That looks very subtle, it looks really nice. It doesn't look, obviously it's pink in the tub, it's like a pink powder, so these are quite new to me. I don't know if these are trending on TikTok, I'll need to check it out. This seems to be quite a popular new thing, so it's like a kind of pink setting powder, brightening pink. So yeah, it is very subtle, so you can't see the pink, which is really nice, and very soft. So yeah, that'd be great just refinishing, just to finish any last minute little bits of powdering that you wanted to do. If you did want to set it a wee bit more, you can go in with like obviously a bigger powder, like this one's what I would use on a daily basis, the Rimmel London one. I think the writing's come off the top now because I've used it so often, but this is Rimmel London shade 003 in Peach Glow. So I would normally finish off a makeup look just using a little bit of this, again tapping off the brush. And then if you just wanted to do anything across the forehead, anything across the eyebrows, and just make sure everything's blended. If you had put if some people have put too much blusher on, this is a good time just to dot over it. Just make sure it's seamless and blended. And that's the finished makeup look. So I hope you enjoyed that little Valentine's Day makeup look tutorial. Find it helpful, and is it something you would like to try and recreate yourself at home? It is very easy to create. Obviously the colours I've used are something that most people would have at home in their makeup bag. If it's a favourite red lip you have, or just like a kind of nice neutral brown tones in the eyes. Most people have a base eyeshadow colour, so I would just use those kind of shades. And if you've got a liner you want to put on, or some people if they prefer without liner, just go for your mascara. And yeah, I feel as if that's just a lovely little makeup look, and I hope you all enjoyed watching this. If you did enjoy this tutorial, then make sure you leave a thumbs up. In the last video I did say that I was going to be doing a competition. I did make a gua sha tutorial video, so if anybody wants to check that out, sharing with you how to use a gua sha by a professional. I do use gua shas on clients for facials, so I thought it might be quite helpful to film a tutorial and share it with you all. So I'm actually doing a giveaway if you wanted to watch the last video. I think it's maybe the second last video, and it's to give away this gua sha. So I'm going to be giving this away on Valentine's Day. So this is, currently I use one like this at home, but I've got two so I don't need two, so I thought I'd give one away. So all you have to do is watch the video, and there's a word in the video that'll get you to, if you watch it, leave in the comments below. That's all you have to do to enter to win the gua sha, and I'll pick a winner on Wednesday, which is Valentine's Day, and I'll get your details and obviously send this out to you. So if this is something you would like to use and maybe learn how to use it, then make sure you check out the video, and I'll link it in the details below. I hope you all enjoyed this makeup tutorial and found it really helpful. Is this a look you'd like to create yourself at home? If it is, comment below. And have you got any nice Valentine's Day plans? I hope everybody has a lovely day, or even if this is after Valentine's Day and you're going out for a dinner date, I hope you have a nice time. And if you were looking for some inspiration on a makeup look, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up, and if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, my name's Pamela, I'm the Scottish Beauty and Spa Guide. So if you like watching beauty, skincare, makeup tutorials and some tips, then make sure you click subscribe. I have also shared some clothing hauls in here as well that some people find that they seem to do quite well too. So if you enjoy fashion as well and sharing videos like that, then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any videos. I hope you all enjoyed watching. Again, I'll link everything in the description box below, all the videos that I mentioned and everything that I used if you wanted to check any of that out. If there were any products you wanted to check out that I mentioned that are from LookFantastic, I do have a discount code that gives you 20% off. So if you do have any makeup products that you love, any beauty or skincare, then you can save yourself 20% with my discount code. So I'll link it here and also down below, and save yourself some money, save yourself 20% off your favourite beauty items over at LookFantastic with my code. You can also find me over on Instagram at Scottish Beauty and Spa Guide, and on TikTok as well, where I share some videos there too. Hope you all enjoyed watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and I'll link all the other videos in the description box below. Have a lovely day everybody, and I'll speak to you all soon.